videos. So today's class will discuss about timers, how to use timers, what are the advantages, how to use them, which are the good ways, those things. Okay, so let me open new script. So let me add one thread group. Right? You should be having one test plan, and you have to add one thread group. And that thread group you can add a request. Okay, HTTP request. I am adding just dummy request. It doesn't have any data. Okay, so just it will run and it will fail. Okay, our motive is not fail and pass now. Here we'll learn how to use the timers. Okay, so there are many ways we can use timers, but which one is the good one we'll see. Okay, I will explain now. Let's say we have two requests. Okay, mm, and we have timers. So if you want to add timer, you can add timers under each request. Okay, sometimes if you record, uh, you will get the timers in different places. Sometimes each request will have some timers. Sometimes you may have in different places. Okay, so it will be generated automatically. So I will show you one which has the timers by default when you record the flow. Okay, so now let's see how to add them. Let's say I have two requests. I want to add timer. Then go to right click on the HTTP request, click on add and timers. And there are many timers. We'll discuss later what are those. For now, let's add constant timer. Okay. So what is constant timer? We'll discuss later. Okay. So another one. First let's add here and see what happens. So constant timer is like whatever time you give here, it will wait until that much time, and then it will trigger this request. Okay, first it will wait, then only it will trigger the request. Okay, so let's say you are adding 30 seconds, then first 30 seconds it won't run, it will wait until it completes, then only it will trigger this request. Okay, so I will mention request 1 and I will mention this one as the request 2, because request 2 will run immediately, request 1 will wait for 30 seconds, because we are giving constantly it has to wait for 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds means here it is in milliseconds. Now 300 milliseconds it will wait. If we give another 0, it will be 3 seconds. If I want to wait 30 seconds, you have to give another 0. Now 30,000 is equal to 30 seconds. Okay, 1000 is equal to 1 second. 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second, guys. You should remember this. So now I want to wait 30 seconds, and you can see how the request will trigger. Okay, so now you can see the difference. You can add a view results tree as a listener, and you can check how it runs. Okay, so now if we run, what happens is, as soon as the script starts, it will wait, it will pass this particular request 1. Okay, then only it will trigger this one, then it will go to request 2. Okay, so let's see how it runs. Okay, so if you run now, it has to wait 30 seconds, then only it will trigger the request 1, guys. So you have to, you can see here what is the time it is waiting. Okay, elapsed time. So as soon as you click on one button, it will ask you to save. Let's say timers. Okay, timers. Okay, I will give name as a timers. Okay, now see, it is 1 2. If you go here, nothing will come up. So because it will wait 30 seconds to trigger this first request. So always it runs in sequential order. Okay, first it will try to run this one, then only it will go to this second request. Okay, always from top to bottom approach. Okay, first that group, then this one, then this one. See, after if you see the 30 seconds, the request 1 will be, you can see here and see. So as soon as it completes the time, immediately the 30th second, the both requests got triggered. Okay, immediately. So You know, right? Constant timer means whatever time you give, it will wait the first time. Okay. Let's say you are giving another timer here. Then what happens? Let's say the same timer I will copy and paste here. Okay. Now this has another time. See, now we have two requests, request 1 and request 2. Each request has timers inside it. So what it does is, it is a child. This is the parent and this timer is a child. So if you have a child, this guy will control this guy, parent. So you have to wait until 30 seconds, then only it will release this request. Okay. Now what happens is, if I run this one, excuse me, again, so first request will be triggered after 30 seconds, as I mentioned earlier, and second request also it will wait another 30 seconds because it has another timer. So now each request has its own timers. They both the first request will come here. Thus execution will come here, and it will see it has a timer, and it will wait for 30 seconds. Then it will trigger this request. Then again it comes to this request. It will see the another timer which has another 30 seconds. So it will pass this particular request for 30 seconds. Then it will send the request to the server. Okay, let's clear it and let's run it. Okay, so if you run now, first 30 seconds, nothing will happen, and 30th second it will release the request one. Then another 30 seconds it will wait and it will release the request two. Okay, so here our focus is not request is passing or failing. Our main objective is to learn how to use timers here. Okay, so let's wait. So 28 second, 29 seconds. See, you saw the request, right? Now another 30 seconds, nothing will happen. It will wait for second request because it has another timer. Then it will wait for another 30 seconds. Okay, so that is the way it will execute, guys. Whenever you have timers inside the request, it will pass that particular request whatever time it mentioned in the milliseconds. In the constant timer, there are many timers. We'll discuss that later. See, now 1 minute is over. The second request got triggered. So you can see that when it got triggered, and when, see, it got triggered at 27:18, and it got triggered at 27 at 48. Okay, after 30 seconds. Okay, so it will wait each and every request for 30 milliseconds if you have a timer. Let's say whether this is the good one or bad one. Let's say I have a transaction. Let's say this is the, let's imagine these two are transaction under one transaction. Okay, now I am inserting the transaction controller. Okay, now in the transaction controller I will name it as URL. Okay, just for learning purpose. So now this is the URL transaction which has two requests, request 1 and request 2. Okay, but whenever we run the load test, right, so the request first time it don't want to wait any time, right? After completion of URL 1, it has to wait for some time. Okay, then uh, if we go with this approach, what it happens is, it will pass this first request and it will pass second request also, because it will take lot of time, right? They both have to trigger at the one by one. First it has to trigger request 1, immediately it has to trigger the request 2. Okay, it doesn't want to wait the wait time. So what you have to do is, you have to remove this timers inside this, because each one will pass the request, right? If you keep timers under request, it will pass that particular request for whatever time you mentioned. That is not good. See, URL is a transaction which has two requests. That means these two requests has to run one by one immediately without any pass. Then we have another request, another transaction. Let's say we have another transaction. Let's copy this one and I will paste here again. Okay. Now I will mention this is, let's say, login. So now I have a transaction URL and login transaction, two of them. So let's say this is request 3 and this is request 4. Okay, let's imagine like this. First, whenever I start the test, URL has to run immediately. Whenever it goes to login, it has to wait for some time. Okay, in between it should not wait in between the request. Okay, whenever you record, sometimes you will see inside this request the timer, you have to delete it, guys. Okay, don't keep them because it will pass each and every request. Whatever request is having timer, it will pass that particular request for that much amount of time, then only it will release it. That is not good. Okay, when we are having transaction controller which has two requests, this both has to run one after the other. There no need to be having past tense in between. Okay, we can have past time after completion of URL transaction. Completely after completion of URL transaction, we can wait for some time. Then we can go to login. Then what is the best approach? So inserting timers in this is not good, right? Because it will pass this particular request. Let's say insert one timer inside this one. What it does? Now let's say I am inserting a timer inside the transaction controller. Now this guy is parent child for URL transaction. Now let's say I am giving again same 30 seconds. What happens is, now again it will pass each and every request inside this transaction controller. Whatever requests are there, let's say there are 10 requests. If you insert the timer inside the transaction controller, again that is not good because it will wait. Again each request it will pass 30 seconds. Okay, so that is not good one. So that is very bad approach. Let's try and see. Okay, so if you run this one, first 30 seconds it will wait and it will trigger the request one. Then again it will wait another 30 seconds, it will trigger request 2. It is same as inserting timers inside the request, right? There is no change. Okay, so this is also not good one. You should not use this one, guys. Okay, so let's wait. Now 23 seconds, 24, 26. As soon as we get 29, to trigger one request. See, request 1 got triggered and request 2 did not trigger immediately. Again it will wait another 30 seconds. Okay, so inserting timer inside URL is not good. Inserting a timer inside request also not good. It will pass that much time. Okay, then what is the good way of doing it? See, now it is almost 29, 1 minute. Now it will trigger. See, request to got triggered after 30 seconds. Then the login does not have any timers, it got triggered immediately. See the timings, 33:3. This one also same times. Okay, so if you see these times, 18, 33, 33, all three of them have at same time because there is no timers for this login, so they both got triggered at the same time. Okay, then so let's say you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 requests in the URL itself. If you are adding constant timer or whatever timer you are adding here, it will pass each and every request that much time. That is not good. Okay, never ever use constant timer inside the, or any timer, not only constant timer, any timer inside the transaction controller, even inside the request also. Remove them. If you have to remove them. That is the first step you have to remove. Remove the timers which are inside the request and which are inside the URLs. Okay, this is not good approach. Okay, so now go and disable this one. Now, then what is the best one, right? After completion of this URL request or URL page, it has to wait for some time. Then it has to display the run the login request. Then the best one is, so go to thread group. You have a option called add think times to the children. So this is the best option, guys. You have to use that option. Okay, so first insert like this. Your script will be like this. Inside that you have to disable all the timers, request timers and constant timers, everything, and have only transactions in your script. Then go right click on the thread group and add think times to the children. Add like that. Then what it does is it will add think time function after completion of each transaction. See, after login we don't have anything, right? So you no need to enable this one. You can disable this one because after login I don't have anything to run. So why unnecessary to wait for some time, right? Now what it does is script first the thread group will start running, then it will come to URL transaction, it will execute all of them, then the script will come to think time. Here, see, if you see here, it added a flow control action. What flow control action does is when the execution will start from the top and it will come all the way to down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Whenever it comes to here, the execution flow it will pass. Okay, it will stop the execution flow and it will wait, see, pass, and you can give directly how much time you want to pass. Okay, or you can let's say you want to use inside that a you see by default it added uniform random timer. Okay, so here constantly it is waiting for 1000 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds means 1 second. Then there is a random delay, so it will generate a number between 0 to 99 and it will add a number, that number to this one. That means it will wait 1099 seconds max. Okay, so now this is the best way you have to add it, guys. I will explain you later how this uniform random timer works, but the best way is this is the way you have to add it. You have to add think time to the children, not the directly adding timers to the transaction controller or request. That is not the good way. Never ever do that one. Always use this approach. This approach is the best approach, which will pass the execution. Once this URL completes, it will pass this particular time, whatever time you mention here. In this case, it will pass 1100 seconds. Okay, then it will execute the login request. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Let's say this time I will give again 30,000 because we have to see, right, how it works. So as soon as I click on start button, the URL transaction will run, which has two requests, request 1 and request 2, that you can see here. As soon as I click this one, this 2 will complete, then the script will wait for 30 seconds, then login will run. Okay, so this is how we need to run in real time also. Okay, so always use this way. This is the correct way of using think times in your uh, scripts or your test plan. Okay, so let's click on run button. As soon as I click run button, the URL will be executed, then it will wait for 30 seconds because I have 30 seconds and 100 milliseconds, guys, max. Okay, so minimum is 30 seconds, max is 30 seconds, 100 milliseconds. Okay, so now 22, 23, so the time is coming very near. Okay, as soon as it become 30, the 2 will run. Okay, see, as soon as become 30, 3 and 4 requests will get executed. So this is the way we have to use it, guys. Okay, so this is the best approach. Okay, so again some people they will forget and they will add a timer inside the thread group. If we add a timer to entire thread group, then each and every element in the thread group will wait for that much time. Let's say you give 3 seconds, then each and every request will wait for 3 seconds. Okay, then that is also not good, guys. Adding timer to entire thread group is also is not good. Adding timer to entire transaction controller also not good. Adding timer to individual request wise also not good. The best approach is adding timer during the execution flow. Only go to thread group and add things time to the children. This is the best one, is the correct one to use. Okay, so always try to use this one, guys, whenever you are recording a big flow, right? Your application flow. Okay, the best approach is this one. Okay, we have to add as a thread group as the children. Okay, not like the old approach, like adding timers to the your transaction controllers is not good. Adding timers to the request is not good. Adding timers to the thread group also not good. Okay, so this is the very simple way of how to use the timers or think time in correct way in Jmeter. Okay, so later classes I will explain you what is the difference between constant timer and uniform random timer, and there are many other timers. Okay, so we can discuss later what is the constant timer and uniform random timer, precise throughput, and Gaussian random timer, Bayesian random timer, synchronized timer. So we'll discuss all of these, guys. Okay, so now constant timer is very straightforward. Whatever time you want to wait constantly, if you give 5 seconds it will wait only 5 seconds. But here you have the option to randomize it. Let's say I want to wait in between 1 to 5 seconds, the random time, right? Then you can go with this one, uniform random timer, okay, or Gaussian random timer, or fashion random timer. Okay, that I will explain you in next class, guys. Okay, hope you understood the concept what wanted to explain. So the correct way of using think time is always go to thread group and add think times to the children. This is the way you should add it. This is the correct way. So whatever other ways if you do that, that is wrong. It will pass each and every request. Then you may not. Let's say what is the problem. Let's say it is where if we add this constant timer here, then what happens? Let's say you are running with 10 users. You are planning to achieve 1,000 transactions per hour. Okay, then you won't achieve properly if we have the constant timer, because it will pass each and every request, right? So your time will pass here only. You won't achieve 1,000 transactions per hour. You may achieve only 300 transactions per hour. If you want exactly 1,000 transactions per hour, don't use timers inside the requests and transaction controllers and thread group also. Only use this way. Then you should be able to achieve your transactions per hour exactly how you wanted. Okay, so that is the correct way, guys. This is of using the think times in Jmeter, or you can guide a think time or the timer. Okay, but the best way is this is the one you have to use it. In load runner also same thing, right? Once your transaction completes, it will wait for 5 seconds or whatever time you give, then it will go to next transaction. The same way it will work. But if you do timers inside this, it is differently, it will run different way of execution. Then you won't achieve total transactions per hour, however you wanted. Okay, so you cannot achieve total transactions per hour if you do the constant timer in adding to the transaction controller or request or thread group. Okay, so always follow this approach so that you can achieve the total transactions per hour as you wish. Okay, thank you, guys. Thanks for watching my videos. Please do like and subscribe and let others know by watching my videos. Please do comment if you need any help. I can explain you.